Hello, everybody. Welcome to our first episode of Lady Justice Talks, where curiosity meets law. Today you're here with Anita,
Natascha,
Allie, Rubal,
and our lovely VP, Susu. Susu, come say hi. Susu. So today we're going to be talking about pathways after law, bringing in some new perspectives with different jobs. But before we do that, if you guys will allow me, I would like to talk about a traditional job where everybody knows.
That's important.
Judge.
Yeah.
Judge.
Yeah.
So everybody knows with a law degree you can become a lawyer and a judge. But I actually got interested in this a few weeks ago where I was like, how do you even become a judge? Like, what are the process of becoming a judge? And I feel like not everybody knows what the process is. So I'll just cover that for a few minutes. So there's 3 criteria to becoming a judge at first to be eligible. First, you need to be a Canadian citizen, which I actually did not know that. I did not know that. And then you need to have been a lawyer for at least 10 years.
That's long.
That is
Far
long time,
enough.
but
Yeah.
it is.
Long
I feel like,
commitment.
but I feel like it is fair because when you become a judge, you're like
you
a
have
judge.
to be
Of
you know,
course.
you're
Makes
gonna oversee.
sense. Enough. Yeah,
So,
makes sense.
But you don't just have to be a judge. You also have to be a good member of the standing bar of the province or territory that you want to become a judge in. You know, because they're gonna check,
makes sense. Yeah.
background check you, whatever, and after you're eligible, you're gonna have to apply through the Judicial Advisory Committee, where it's an independent committee that will assess your application, like your CV, your references, based on your skills that you offer. They might even do one-on-one interviews. They might check in with your references, and after that, they will send you to the minister for them to actually review your application with other stakeholders if they wanted to. And this is an interesting part. If you're selected, this, becoming a judge is lifetime. It's
I wouldn't do this.
Which I did not. You never know what you want to do in 10 years, but I did not know that it's either lifetime or total retirement. And then after you're selected, of course, there's going to be specific training too, because even though you've been a lawyer for 10 years, you're going to be trained on how the whole legal procedures, how you're going to overview everything.
Yeah.
But I found that very interesting, so I felt like sharing because I feel like it wasn't as said, the process. This is how it is in Canada generally. It might have some differing aspects to it in different provinces, but that's basically the whole thing for becoming a judge.
But it's very important to everybody to know what the really traditional process is. Yeah.
But now on to the non-traditional jobs.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Come on.
Let's start first.
It's interesting to listen to everybody, especially when we got together and I learned all about your individual passions and interests to pursue this podcast. I personally didn't actually get into law or pursued law right away when I entered York University. I came in for studying psychology, and then it was in my second year that through a professor here at the university, she taught psychology and law, which is the intersection of crime and the justice system and offenders and victims. And it was very fascinating, and I started looking further into it, and I really got interested to pursue forensic psychology, and that's sort of been geared towards that. Did you know that there's actually only 2,100 forensic psychologists in Canada?
Wait, goodness. That's so
low, yeah.
But 76% is women. So
But that's interesting.
W for women.
relative to women offender in the system. So forensic psychology is all about, the criminal mind through a scientific lens, how it works in legal context and such. So, the contemplation of alternative avenues like forensic psychology, it's just you can work in so many different settings, like law enforcement agencies.
It's more criminal based.
Correct. Yeah, most of it. But I'm particularly interested in it because I do believe that trauma impacts our relationships with other people,
for sure.
which
That definitely
displays out in like.
You can even see that in like our real life, like friendships, family, like anything that
you can relate it. You can relate with it.
But that's interesting because I didn't know forensic psychology was the one that had that role in the law world.
It's like more hidden one. Like more, don't people? A lot of people focus on that things. After law, you can go with this thing.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
And there's so many nuanced fields that you can go in with forensic psychologist degree. That is, there's so many avenues from like even developmental neuroscience, you name it, that you can.
That sounds very smart.
Intersect psychology and law. So,
it is. Yeah, exactly. Like I'm from accounting one, so have accounting majors. But like when I was thinking about the law degree, and then I was trying to connect it, and I did a research, and I come to know that France is right now hiring as a CSR, as like corporate social responsibility. Yeah, France is hiring right now. It's like in the urgent hiring kind of stuff. And when I go in the deep, and I get to know that if you have a law degree, you can go with that career, and it's more about you just get to know about a little bit internships or more about the environment law, and you're going to work in the corporate office close to the heads, and you're going to advise them about how they can make the profit with sustainability and environment. And more interesting thing, when I was in my first year and I had a course, and my professor usually focused on this thing, and I was always amazed with like a lot of all the topics why he focused a lot on this stuff. Like so now I realize why, because it's emerging industry, the law people like having the idea about the law policies, how to maintain the relationships
ethics, right?
with environment.
CSR. I feel like ethics is big in CSR.
Yeah,
is that
exactly.
Right?
More to the ethical thing. So it's like the 4 law degree holders, they can get into the CSR, and I feel it's more interesting because you don't need to be on the bar council, always in the court. You can be in the corporate offices, and it's not you have to be only particular in the one country, like being a judge or lawyer for a specific country or city or province. You can go all over the globe. Like France is hiring from Canada, we can move to the France for this job, and I feel it's pretty cool being in the law degree and getting into the corporate world, same as like human resource management with your law policies. You can help the people to manage their lives and corporate things.
I actually feel like that's very interesting that you pointed out that for CSR you don't have to be for a specific country.
Yeah.
Because even for lawyers, like in Canada, even in one country, if you're in a different province, because there are different laws, like the Quebec ones that have like their own that's interesting to know that it's more diverse, that you can
like wider scope with the law degree, where that you're not gonna get in the traditional one, but in the non-traditional one you're gonna get the wider scope with your degree, with the same degree, right?
I didn't know. That's very interesting.
Yeah, sure. Okay. And you know what? I just realized that we have some intersections, like crossings.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I mean, I was really interested in journalism, which is really not that traditional going after law degree. For some reason, many people don't know that with the law degree, people can go for the journalism that has like so many different directions, like such as criminal journalist, legal journalist, legal investigator, or
I feel like journalism is very underrated.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
It sounds very interesting. Sorry, I'm gonna let you go on, but I just like in my head I'm like, you're right. Like it is kind of very underrated.
Yeah,
it's not spoken of a lot.
But like I have some friends back in my country that were pursuing law degree but after that they decided to go to journalism. It's like really interesting to have your degree and while doing the blog or making the articles, which is really interactive, especially if you're gonna pursue the law degree, like the law direction. I mean, like criminal journalist. They're working closely with the victims, the witness, and they interview them and have legit information, and then go to the public with the proper thoughts and information.
That's why they seem like so underrated.
Yeah, they have to be good at writing, good at like researching, like not
And they do interviews.
popular items like if you're not good at researching, you're not gonna find any legit information
That's
about
not
the
an easy
people.
job.
Yeah.
That's not an easy job.
Yeah, sure.
I feel like we can even connect it with the literature and the language when you're writing and researching in it for a particular
Ooh,
thing.
that actually stuck something in my head.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Legal translators. A couple years ago, I was volunteering at this like law firm, and it was a corporate law firm, and I was in another country actually. So obviously I didn't know as much legal terms and all that, but so because I knew 2 languages, I was bilingual, English and Farsi, so they would have me like helping them like with translations and stuff. But that's when I came to know that legal translators is like an actual job which exists like in I think all countries, especially in Canada itself is a bilingual country, like French and English.
Yeah, of
Like
course.
it's in very high demand. Actually, I did some research. They're both in very high demand. And what's interesting to know about legal translation is that you don't typically need a law degree, but
Yeah.
realistically, nobody's gonna hire you if you don't have.
Yeah.
Well, especially because justice is so abstract and absurd. Like, it's really hard to learn legalese, right? So
Yeah,
I
so, like,
imagine it's hard to
it's-
translate.
It's definitely because of the legal terms.
Yeah.
It's definitely preferred to have, if not a law degree, to have at least some sort of like certificate or translation. Because there are some bachelor programs translation that actually York University or University of Ottawa offer. University of Ottawa actually offers the only legal translation master's program.
Oh my goodness.
So if any, yeah, it's like the only one in the country, from at least what I've researched, it's the
Okay.
only one legal, like it offers literally legal translation, a
Okay.
master's. So
Yeah.
and that is actually very interesting because it's also easy for, I don't know, I feel like it's easy for immigrants, for people that know 2 languages.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
it's good to get into, but you do need to know legal terms because it's also like you can't really make
Like,
mistakes.
yeah.
Mistakes are big if you make mistakes in law.
Like it just, like as like I have idea like right now, like if you're like being a lawyer, have the law degree, and I have like you're on the way to get the like the become a judge, and it's like 10 years, and you can even start out because you know the legal terms and you're bilingual, like you
Yeah.
know the French and English. As a freelancer, you can start and give services of a legal writer though. So
Yeah.
it's even a side career, side hustle you along with your law degree or being
Yeah.
like a typical 9 to 5 lawyer or being
Yeah.
on the journey of the becoming judge. It's
definitely.
gonna be a side hustle for
and,
us.
yeah,
like,
and definitely it doesn't have to be just in French and
Yeah.
English. Like if
like
you know
any
other-
language.
Yeah,
And it is
but-
country of immigrants, right?
Yeah, but one thing is good to remember is that you can't really have room to make mistakes. There will be consequences in
Yeah.
translation because it
Why
is a
is
big
that?
thing. It's
1 hour later.
you can't really have room for mistakes because there will be consequences. I haven't really looked into what type of consequences, but but like it makes sense because they're legal documents, right? You're
Yeah.
translating for judges, for lawyers, for anybody, honestly, for defendants, for plaintiffs. Is that?
Yeah, the same for the, I
Yeah.
forgot about it, but the legal journalists also working with the legal firms, with the courts, and they have to work so much legal terms, and they don't also have like right to do the mistake, like the translators.
You see, and listening to both of you, this is why I want to come in with forensic psychology for evaluations of justice administration, because it is so convoluted, and for the common woman or a man, it is so hard to approach and actually understand all the concepts.
I feel like here the psychology concept comes in when you like the 2 different mindsets and like you translate something, but the people with a different outlook. So here the psychology works with the law.
Yeah, sure.
Like, I mean, there must be like, speaking of like consequences and problems, there must be something that like the person in the middle that
Yeah.
can fix all of this. right?
Middleman or mediator or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There has to be someone.
Yeah.
That's where I want to interject myself. Yes. So even like other avenues like legal arbitration or legal mediation is similarly to those fields as well, right? Where
Yeah.
you don't just go the traditional way of like, a jury trial or a judge trial, whatever, and it's just, with arbitration you have, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you hear the arguments of both parties, and then there is a
Yeah.
binding decision made. Whereas with a mediator, you come to a mutually acceptable agreement with between the. So the mediator
That's actually good to know
facilitates
the
communication.
difference. Oh,
Because
Yeah.
I had always like read both their terms. Like I knew they were like to help resolve, but I think I had read mostly mediator that would be there to resolve like both
Yeah.
sides.
Oh.
Which now it makes sense now that you explained both of their definitions in a sense. That's good.
yeah,
Because
that
I've
makes
heard like they try to do it before it actually goes to court.
Yeah, it's good to know, right?
It's
Yeah.
quicker and more cost
Yeah.
effective,
Yeah.
in most cases.
That's actually another interesting thing that I feel like people could do with law degrees. I think, do they need law degrees?
For which part?
Like mediator, arbitrator? Do they
Yeah, I
have
believe
to
they need to.
have?
I think they have to have don't quote me on that because I didn't look into that part, but I'm pretty sure that most will need like a undergraduate BA in law or something
would
like
make
that.
But I feel it's like if you have that, you know knowledge about this. Like it's
Yeah.
when you're working on that environment, if you have knowledge about that terms, it's gonna be a little easy to solve the conflicts because you're the middleman, and if you know some terms and you're familiar with the environment, so it's pretty cool that you can manage that thing for the both side. So it's I think it's a bonus point if you have
Yeah.
the law
Yeah,
degree,
exactly.
right?
I think you probably do because of the legal like aspects of it, like knowing all
Yeah,
the terms.
exactly what I mean, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we need to remember that law school, from what I've heard and researched and having originally wanted to apply to law schools in Ontario, is that like a lot of people are scared to apply because there's the LSAT involved and so much studying, and it's a
Oh.
different
Yeah.
type of
Yeah,
environment, right? So
Yeah.
to know about alternative pathways, like it gave me a sense of peace because I don't necessarily need to apply to law school to
Yeah.
pursue
From
something
this
in a
field,
legal
yeah.
context or a framework. So.
Same,
Yeah.
because when I set my mind on law school, a lot of people would be telling me like, hey, like I've heard lawyers like after a while they don't like their own job, or like I don't know, do you think you'd get bored or whatever? And I'm like, no, I probably wouldn't, because like I'm personally interested in corporate law, and I feel like I would actually like I've done research on it, I've worked it a little bit in the field, like volunteer jobs, internships, whatever. I feel like I would be fine with it, but it also got my brain thinking.
Yeah.
Like, okay, because people would be asking me like, okay, if you go to law school, you get your law degree, lawyer, judge, is that it? Is that all you
Right.
can do?
Yeah.
So like I find that we can do it's like so many things with it. Like the legal translation for me was very interesting because like I'm bilingual myself. I know a lot of people that are like bilingual, like or trilingual, anything. Like I feel like these jobs that we said, with or without a law degree that is required, I feel like they're very interesting to know, and it's good, like it's a sense of comfort to know that there's way more ways than like let's say if somebody doesn't succeed in law school, or
Yeah.
they find out they don't like that.
You know
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
The same was for me because thinking about journalism, there are a lot of people who are creative, like have a passion for journalism, but for some reason they applied for law school. Maybe pressure by the parents. We don't have to exclude this as well.
Yeah.
And for the people who are not really have a passion working as a judge or lawyer, it's a good option, I think, to
it's an interesting one
to show your creativity and passion for journalism, and at the same time working in the law sphere.
Yeah, even I feel it's kind of motivation though. Like when you know that you have alternatives, you're not gonna stick to the only the two jobs. It's even give you the motivation. Let's get a law degree and switch to a different kind of like major psychology with law or like more career. So it's even a kind of motivation for students who feel like not to go in the law school, not to go for the hard work. It's kind of interesting thing to make the people work.
Yeah, that makes sense, and that actually caused a question for me. So like for now, up until here of my life, I know I want to go into law school
Yeah.
to become a lawyer. And I think, do you guys, I know you don't want to become a lawyer, but you want to go in the legal aspect, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you guys want to become lawyers too?
For not right now, but we can put in the long-term goals,
So like,
right?
when do you guys think is like the right time, place in your life that you came to a realization, or do you think like would come to a realization of where exactly do you want to be in your like life in the legal aspect? Like when did you guys come to a realization like, okay, I want to do this? Do you know what I mean?
I can
Yeah.
answer that. Like for me, it was really like literally it's not too long ago because I'm in my final year and I have to apply for graduate school, or for me at least, I want to pursue master's and PhD eventually. But I really struggled with the idea: do I apply to law school or do I pursue forensic psychology? Because both of them would bring me to the end goal. But when I really like networked with other people and soul searched and did my research, I think it's a conviction of personal beliefs and values, because having, as much as it for me was something that I wanted to pursue of the, I guess, prestige of being in law school and stuff like that, I felt that the commitment I had to give, particularly as a mature student and a parent, and a woman, it's not really gonna suit me and my lifestyle, so I can rather pursue and that didn't come until talking to a lot of people, finding out different avenues, listening to
Different
various
perspectives,
perspectives, right? I never heard of CSR or legal journalism, so and I think it's just you need to really just sit with yourself and find out what do I really want to do, what am I driven by, and I want to have something really that I feel passionate about, and it doesn't feel like work when I go out there. And with law, I heard a lot of you have to go into the corporate and to make the money, right? If you want, for me, a social justice cause wouldn't bring in the same income if we talk about income.
Exactly.
Every
So,
time I
there-
tell
yeah.
you, sorry, and just since you said to go to corporate to bring the money, every time I didn't know that, and then every time I started speaking I want to go to law, specifically corporate law, they're like, oh, so you're you want to go after money? I'm whoa, I didn't know that, but that's good to know, I guess.
But people say you are materialistic, but obviously in life is not even without money. Obviously, it runs with money.
It's today's reality, unfortunately. Yes.
I feel if I'm talking about the personal beliefs and things, I feel everything affects social dynamics and the financial dynamics at the one age. You're working in a particular firm, or you're working as a teacher, right? Legal teacher or something, and then you think to be you're not earning good. Obviously, you will look for the option. If you have the law degree, you will try to switch that. If you're doing as a law teacher, law professor, and you feel you're not good, so you have a law degree, you have alternatives. You just go for it. You have the bonus point with you. I feel that at the age, there's different economic, social, financial, there are a lot of dynamics and a lot of the changes in life, and even the age is a factor that make you to do that.
Also, situations. I feel a lot of people sometimes might not even want to do something that they don't want to, or they want to do something but they can't. And I feel the situation also really affects it. That is the question I asked is actually pretty diverse, and it's very personal to the person based on their circumstances, based on what their preferences, their beliefs, their values. But it's just interesting to know how we could all come around the same path from different backgrounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, right? Interesting thing to know.
And I think given the stage of my life that I am in, it's absolutely okay to change your mind and change your careers, because I started with a technical background in engineering, and then I was in corporate world first, so I flipped my bit based on my lived experience and my own exposure to the various.
Of course, another thing is change is the law of nature, though.
Yes, that is very true. But some people are very set. I think back when I was so set on just making the money, and I'm now way more about, the human
Being
behavior and the
flexible.
social justice.
So all of this comes, I feel this shows a lot of all of the things that we covered, of all of the different pathways. I feel covers why it's important to have different pathways for law.
Yeah.
Do you guys agree? What do you guys think? Do you guys think it's also important to be aware or know that other pathways exist?
Of course, it's very important. I think it's the more you get to know, it's more it's even a kind of personal development. You know the ideas, you know the alternatives. It's like, it's not always, that's even a reason when you feel tired or fed up of your job. You're just going to court and just doing the same thing, but you have no idea about the rest of other things. And like even if you're engaged in a career, it's good to keep yourself up to date, and it's even a kind of a fun and a kind of a personal development, I feel. So
also
yeah,
helps you feel more secure.
Yeah.
Like when you know you have options, but you're choosing one. So you're like, okay, then if I'm the one choosing this, then I
even can go for that thing, right?
I'm not forced. I'm not pressured to go become a lawyer because that's the only thing I can do with a law degree.
So like you can feel, it's like it will not make you feel that okay, and now I'm a lawyer, I'm a judge, I'm done. No, you're not done yet. You have whole life to go.
You're not done yet.
You're not done yet. You have whole life to go.
You can change. It's okay to change.
What makes you happy? Just go for that. Just grab it.
I feel like a lot of people like get scared. They think they're running out of time. That there's no.
I have like some. I know some people who like working for one job they don't like, and like they have this thing that I have to work for this because I chose this. And I can like change my career, but there are so many options that they can do, like linguists, like journalism, like forensic psychologists, right? And like with the law degree, you can do so many things, but you don't have to stuck in the one field. I guess.
And it's okay if you feel like, our beautiful viewers, it's okay if you feel like you've reached the point where you want to be in life later than everybody. It's okay if you feel like you found your path later than everybody. It's the fact that you found your path. It's the fact that you're actually like going towards it. Why am I giving motivational speech? No, but like that just reminded me, because like before I chose law, I went through everything. I went through sciences, I went through maths, I went through arts. Like I was about to become a fashion designer, but I couldn't sit down and draw for 3 hours. Right?
Bro, I wanted to go to med school. What are you talking about?
Right? Or like my siblings, like one of them is engineering right now, one of them is sciences, but like when I was growing up I was like, oh, should I go to sciences, like am I supposed to go? But then like I reached a point that I'm like, no, I like law actually, like I wanted to go to law. So like it's okay if you reach that later than everybody else, but it's the fact that you've reached it.
Like even I want to add one more thing, like we're more in the women club, and like at the age when you're a single mother, you're doing something, you're going to 9-to-5 job and secure job, don't feel about the social norms, like what people gonna say. You have a secure job and you're single mother, you're earning well, just raise your kids, nurture them. No, don't worry about the social norms. If you don't feel good with that job, just go and switch that.
There's always gonna be
because talking. I feel for the women it's gonna be the more thing, but at your age of 40 or something, you have a kids and you're raising them, nurture them, you have a good secure job, and people make you feel that you're doing good, not need to switch the career. Don't feel that pressure. If what makes you feel happy, just go for that.
And it's also depends on the social environment that they are, like the cultural perspective as well. For some reason women are really like have closed mindset about, no, I don't have to do this, but it's
I don't
a
know
problem.
if it's a phenomenon for women only, but there's like, society drives a lot of our norms and what we're supposed to pursue.
There's a lot of social constructs.
So so don't worry about the social norms and beliefs. Just go what makes you feel good.
I feel like everybody has to remember that there's always going to be somebody talking. There's always going to be those norms or standards. But it's definitely good to remember.
I wholeheartedly agree. Yes, I think so too. It's very fascinating too. Like clearly there is an intersectionality across all the fields, right? And I think we need to all be progressive, especially when we consider like from a perspective as women in law. And that, as with all the movements that are going on in the world, the abortion ban and the Me Too movement recently with the overturn, and like it makes you question where we position as women, particularly in law, and how we move forward from here. So what do you think, what can we tell our listeners how we can explore the alternative pathways after
watch our podcast?
Of course, attend our events, go volunteer with us, come to our events, listen to our podcast.
Like just get yourself out there into, like, if you're in university level, like, get yourself out there into clubs, events, and I'm sure even if you're not in
networking
university
is a key.
level, undergrad, whatever, there's always going to be social events for all these stuff. So all it takes is a simple Google search or maybe connections, networking, talking to other people.
Yeah.
Like, those could, I feel like the reason I looked into the process of judges was because
Yeah.
I went to event that, I went to a courthouse, right? And then that's how I realized, like, oh, judges are actually kind of interesting because, like, I wasn't looking into law. So, like, just getting yourself out there. That's
Yeah.
one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what I did? I don't know, I like reading in general, although I don't do it much for pleasure anymore at the moment while I'm studying because there's just not enough time left. But I actually reached out to like various like authors like of papers that are local and to find out and like connect with them and like delve into like the different areas and hear their own pathways in their careers of what they have done. So that was my way of, finding out about alternative
Yeah.
pathways
For
after
the
law.
journalism, I want to include that people can start their social media because providing people your articles and promoting it, it's a hard thing. And to start their social media and making internship with the law firms or other legal journals is also might be really helpful to get into the profession, I think.
And I have an example, like we talk about networking. So I feel networking is really important. I met a girl, or it was like somebody at the good accounting firm, and her background was something in the medical streams, and she's working as a recruiter for that firm. And it was really amazed, like somebody from medical firm and working as a campus recruiter for the like accounting firm. So I feel networking is even a good point, a good thing that you should be engaged in, get more people to know about the careers. Like, if I am thinking to being from science field to get into the business, I will prefer to go and network with that girl and get to know how she like comes from that medical firm or biofield field and come into the recruiter or as for the like top firm of the accounting. So I think networking is really good thing if you get to know want to know about the more alternatives.
Connections in our field or
Yeah.
in our field, these type of fields, specifically business, law, these fields are really big.
Yeah,
And they're good to have.
exactly.
Good to have.
It's good to have more people, more friends.
Networking is the reason why I'm sitting here, guys.
Oh,
Exactly.
that's really good.
Well, that was good.
Yeah, you know what? I thank you guys because this was great to hear about everybody's perspectives on like their different pursuits in law and the legal context and the frameworks. It's really fascinating. I'm so grateful to be part of this team, and I'm looking
Very
forward
empowering.
to
Yeah.
more.
I feel thank
And-
you to the listeners and viewers who was like really
Yeah,
great,
sure.
who are like all the time with us. So thank you.
Yeah,
and
thank you to our listeners joining us to this expedition in our Lady Justice Talks. Thank you.
thank you. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good day.